you now. I got big news. Hey, let go, you knucklehead. All right, so you dug another hole. What do you expect, the Pulitzer Prize? All right. Is that what you stopped me for? Same old moldy tommyhawk you dig up every 3 months. Now, listen, this nonsense may be all right for you, but I got an earth-shattering scoop to report. Hey!
Stop yelling, Uncle Joe. I'm right here.
Kitty, you'll never guess what happened.
Please, we're busy.
Kate, what's the most fantastic thing you can imagine? Take a wild guess.
You got a job.
I got something better than that. I got $1 million rolled up right here.
Bobby Joe, would you move your end to the right a little?
Kate, how'd you like to send the girls to college? How'd you like to take a Mediterranean cruise?
How would you like to give us a hand with the sofa? Uncle Joe, if you're not going to help, move.
Oh, we had a wonderful swim.
Hey, Joe, how'd you like to have one of them fancy new sport cars?
I'd love one. But we don't have a garage, and I'd hate to clutter up the lobby.
Really, Joe? How'd you like to have a mink coat?
Well, if you'll include an ermine for a change of pace. After all, no girl wants to be seen at the soda fountain night after night in the same old mink.
Biggest news that ever hit Hooterville. Nobody'll listen to me. Well, you're better than nobody. Don't get a swelled head. You ain't that much better. You know what that is? That's a map of Hooterville Valley. See, here's the railroad. This here's Bleeker's Creek. Now, the State Park Commission's going to dam up Bleeker's Creek and create a big, beautiful artificial lake. Do you know what that means? That'll bring a booming prosperity. The Shady Rest will be a thriving tourist resort. We'll make a fortune. Get your foot out of the lake.
What lake?
You didn't want to listen to me when I was trying to tell you. Now I won't tell you, even if you stand on your head. No, sir. No use begging me to tell you about the multi-million-dollar Hooterville Valley Lake project that's going to make Lake Tahoe look like a bird bath.
A new lake? Here in Hooterville? State Planning Commission, Engineering Division, Hooterville Dam Project. Where'd you get this map?
He's a friend of mine. Big shot of the State Engineering Division. He smuggled this out to me. Kate, the commission ain't going to decide on this until next week.
I didn't know you had an important friend at the state capitol.
If it weren't for him, the engineering office would be in a big mess.
What's his title?
He's the head janitor. Just look at this, Kate. Kate, when this lake's filled up, it's going to be over 10 miles across and have a shoreline of over 40 miles.
My man.
The state's going to stock the lake with fish. We'll not only make a lot of money from boats and fishing poles, but we'll corner the worm market. Charge them 50 cents an inch.
Uncle Joe, where's the Shady Rest Hotel?
Well, here's Ben Miller's apple orchard. And this is Scoville's Bluffs. Now, we're just halfway between.
Right in the middle of the lake.
Well, at least it's centrally located.
And look at the railroad tracks. Floyd and Charlie are going to have to get diving suits. Half the cannonballs right away is underwater. Now, who would want to turn the cannonball into a submarine and put the Shady Rest Hotel at the bottom of the lake? You know, if this weren't a state project, I would swear this is the work of one man.
Good thinking, Mrs. Bradley.
Homer Bedley.
Thought I'd drop by and say hello before the kelp starts growing in your lobby. Oh, speaking about lobbies, I personally boondoggled this subject through the state legislature under the guise of conservation of natural resources.
You won't get away with this, Bedloe. 2 months from now, we'll be standing in exactly the same spot.
As you like, but if you do, bubbles will be coming out of your mouth.
You know, Homer Bedloe, you've done some pretty contemptible things in your life, but this is the lowest you've ever sunk.
Thank you, Mrs. Bradley, but not as low as this hotel will sink. Oh, by the way, you'll have plenty of guests. Catfish will be checking in, pickerel will be checking out. And you won't have as much work to do in the rooms, Mrs. Bradley. Oyster beds don't require a change of sheets.
Bedloe, without a doubt, you're the most rotten, mean, miserable, despicable rat in the world.
Oh, I wish you'd write that down and send it to my mother. She'd be so proud.
You haven't won yet, Homer. We're going to fight you every step of the way.
That's right. I got connections at the Capitol. I got a friend that can take me right to the head of this project.
Oh, well, in that case, you don't have to write that letter to my mother. You'll be seeing her. So that you'll recognize her. Here's a photograph.
What a remarkable resemblance.
Yeah, the same little beady eyes, the same sneer.
You know, that picture was taken on our family yacht, the Scavenger. The same one that'll be sailing overhead on the new lake. Well, see you all at high tide. The Shady Rest will be under 50 feet of water. There'll be kelp growing in the lobby, catfish checking in, pickerel checking out.
You won't get away with it. You're not going to turn my hotel into Davy Jones' locker. I'm going to stop you if it's the last thing I do.
We need 200 signatures to get a restraining order to stop the dam. Now, how about it?
All right, I'll sign.
Here. How about you, Fred?
I ain't signing nothing until I have a conference with my family.
But Doris is shopping in Pixley.
Well, but the decision-making part of the family's right here. Arnold, what do you think of that? Well, all right, if you say so.
Why'd you sign next?
Oh, no, I ain't gonna sign nothing.
You better. You be shoveling perch into that boiler.
Boy, don't be a Benedict Arnold. Put down your John Hancock.
Well, can't I sign just plain old Floyd Smoot?
Yes, you can, Floyd.
I'm with you, Kate.
Thank you. 8 signatures already. Just think, all we need is 192 more.
198 signatures. Only 2 more and we could have stopped.
Pass the hotcakes.
Well, girls, we might as well all eat something. Homer Bedloe's come out on top.
How touching. Oh, the family at breakfast. No, please don't anybody get up. Just let me enjoy this little tableau while it lasts. Soon this cozy dining room will be a grotto for eels, and you, my dear good friends, will be a tattered little band of gypsies roaming homelessly about the countryside.
Bedloe, why don't you run over to the zoo? I hear one of their rattlesnakes needs a venom transfusion.
You don't fool me a bit, Mr. Carson. Behind that facade of hostility lurks a deep and heartwarming hatred.
Homer Bedloe, you wouldn't be so brazen if the Conservation Commissioner knew what kind of man you are.
Why don't you tell him? Oh, Mr. Commissioner. Oh, Mrs. Bradley, this is Mr. Fletcher, the Commissioner of Conservation.
How do you do, Mr. Commissioner? Mr. Fletcher, this is my Uncle Joe Carson and my 3 daughters, Billy,
Oh,
Joe.
yes. Homer here has told me all about your charming daughters. Billy Joe, Bobby Joe, and Betty Joe.
Hello. Mother, may we be excused?
Oh, certainly. Would you like some coffee, Mr. Fletcher?
Thank you, Mrs. Bradley.
Didn't you want to tell the Commissioner something, Mrs. Bradley?
Yes, I did. Mr. Fletcher, this man...
Excuse me, please. Modesty prevents my listening to praise.
I'd better keep an eye on Bedloe. I don't trust him as far as I can throw a handful of feathers.
Yes, Mrs. Bradley.
About Homer Bedloe. There are so many things that have happened, I don't know where to begin.
Mrs. Bradley, there is nothing about Homer Bedloe you could possibly tell me that I don't already know.
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear that.
What a generous, public-spirited man.
Public-spirited? Why, he is...
He has sacrificed the profitable branch of his railroad so that the people of this valley can enjoy the recreational and economic benefits of the new lake.
I've heard of brainwashing. But Bedloe's got yours. Washed, drip-dried, starched, and ironed.
I've been forewarned that you are the ringleader of a tiny minority who oppose progress in this valley.
I do not oppose progress. I oppose drowning.
Oh, you don't understand the benefits involved. Here, let me illustrate. Now, let's say this is the valley. Now, let's build a dam. I've loved building dams ever since a little shaver. Now, here is a wonderful lake. Supply of water for farms, source of power, a fine attraction for tourists. Just visualize, Mrs. Bradley. Just visualize. Around this lake, there will be cabins. And on the lake, there will be boats.
And at the bottom of the lake, there will be me.
No, never mind.
Run for the hills the dam has broke.
Miss Bradley, that lake is going in whether you like it or not.
That's too bad. I just know there's a couple of people we missed. We just got to get 200 names.
Henderson. Did we get all the Henderson family?
All but Ralph, but he refused to sign.
Oh, he did, huh? Did you tell him it was for Kate?
Yeah, but it didn't impress him. He just sat there in his crib sucking on his rattle.
I know. We didn't get Eustace Paco.
Yeah, and for a very good reason. The sheriff's got him. Caught used to shoplifting again.
That's a shame. And we only needed 2 more signatures.
All right, you two, let's get this wood-burning rat trap rolling. We've got to get to Pixley. The commissioner's due at the county courthouse.
Commissioner? What are you commissioner of?
My name's Fletcher. I'm Commissioner of Conservation.
Gee, you're the first commissioner we ever saw. Hey, could you give us your autograph?
Why, I'd be delighted.
I ain't got nothing for you to write on. Charlie, you got a hunk of paper?
Well, just this.
Thank you very much.
Well, aren't you going to ask for my autograph? After all, I'm vice president of the C&F.W. Railroad.
All right, Floyd, let him sign it.
There. Now, can we get going?
Sure. All aboard! There, that'll get us out Bleeker's Hill.
Let's have another look at this petition. We might think of a couple more names. Be a crime to throw it away with only 2 names missing.
Freddie Ferguson's name ain't down there. He's kind of hard getting his signature, though. He moved to Australia in 1908. Hey, Charlie, are you train sick?
Drink up, fellas. Soda pops are in the house.
Imagine Homer, Bedloe, and the commissioner signing the petition to put their own dam out of business.
That's like the British giving Paul Revere a road map for his famous ride.
Charlie, tell us again how you out-slickered Homer Bedloe.
Well, you see, men, it was like this. We were short just 2 signatures on that petition.
Hey, what are you telling them for? I should be telling them. It was my idea.
Your idea?
Yes.
Boys, it doesn't matter whose idea it was. The important thing is we have a restraining order to stop Homer Bedloe.
Yeah. Do you mind repeating that, Mrs. Bradley?
Not at all, Homer. This is a restraining order to stop you from flooding the Shady Rest and submerging the cannonball.
That's very interesting. Mrs. Bradley, I'd like you to take a look at this. This is a counter-restraining order restraining your restraining order restraining me from building the dam. Work will begin in about a week.
Bedloe, you're the meanest villain since Simon Legree.
Well, let's not drag amateurs into this. Oh, 3 o'clock. By now, the commissioner should have completed his inspection of the area and be arriving at the Shady Rest to serve the formal eviction notice.
Here, let go now. I've no time to play with dogs. Assistant little Dickens, aren't you? All right, I've inspected the rest of the area. Might as well inspect your bone. Well, this is interesting. A tomahawk. A Choctaw tomahawk. Do you realize what you've done? You've made an important discovery.
Hey, lay off that racket. Can't you see I'm trying to... What are you doing to that dog? Oh, it's you.
Do you know what this is?
Yeah, it's a tomahawk. Dog uses them to scalp gophers. Digs them up around here all the time.
You mean they're all over the area?
Well, I wouldn't say exactly all over.
Well, if they are, it proves my theory that the Choctaws migrated here long before the Sioux and the Winnebago.
You know, it's too bad, Fletcher. Would have made you a big man. Kids in school would have talked about you as an Indian expert instead of an underwater Matahari. Have the lake in, they'll never know. I think the next best place to dig's down by the brook.
Well, good find will be worth a few blisters.
it again, Commissioner. That makes the 6th Tomahawk.
Now, there's a dedicated public servant.
Hello, Bedlow.
You know, Fletcher, I'm as anxious to complete this dam as you are, but you better wait for the crew.
There'll be no dam. It'll be a crime to destroy such a valuable piece of Americana.
Uncle Joe, you standing on an anthill?
No, Kate. On top of a whole Indian village. Yes, sir, Kate, we've been living here all our lives, never realizing that we're right smack dab in the middle of an ancient Indian burial ground.
Indian burial ground?
That's right, Mrs. Bradley. So far, we've turned up 6 Choctaw tomahawks.
Well, I don't care anything about tomahawks. Get these people off the state property.
No, Bedlow. We'll need Mrs. Bradley to look after the hotel. Why, Shady Rest will become a shrine, attracting thousands of tourists and school children who ride the cannonball and see America as it was in the days of the noble red man.
Oh, no.
I hate to do this, Mr. Bedlow, but I gotta tell the truth.
Oh, no, Kate.
They're gonna find out one way or another, and they'll build a dam anyway.
Find out what?
Look at this. Made in Japan, 1963.
So you've tried to make a fool of me. All right. Just for that, I will take every advantage to see that that dam is built as soon as possible. Bedlow, get me a copy of that survey.
Survey? Well, I left it in my office. I'll have to wire for it. Get away from there, you! Hey there! Come back with my survey! Hey, you! Mr. Fletcher, please don't read that. It'll cost me my job. I'll lose my pension.
Well, no wonder. Mrs. Bradley, just listen to this. The commission never saw this report. Conclusion. While there are certain advantages in building a dam in the Hooterville area, it is the final recommendation of our engineers that a dam across Willow Creek is far more practical and economical. Willow Creek. Why did you conceal these facts?
I can tell you why. Because the main line of the C&FW Railroad runs across Willow Creek. And if the state created a lake there, Mr. Bedlow would have been washed out of his job.
Mr. Bedlow, plotting against this good woman, deceiving the people of this state. What'll your mother say?
Oh, please don't tell her. She'll never trust me to do her dirty work again.
Bobby Joe?
Yes, Mom?
Help me move this back, huh? Yeah, you first. That's it.
Hey, it wasn't an Indian village after all. It was Japanese. The dog just dug up this genuine Japanese samurai sword.
Samurai.
That's what I said, samurai. Well, Kate?
Your Japanese sword was made in Akron, Ohio in 1912.
Petticoat, Junction. This has been a Filmways presentation.